Breakfast once again. It's time for us to look at what the papers are reporting. Let's go through what the papers are saying first. The banner headline for the Nation newspaper says Nigeria offers solutions to debt crisis in developing economies. Tinubu seeks reordering of world order in UNGA 2025 statement. Now let's move on to the Platform Times. It says police drag retired AIGs, CPs, others to court over alleged age falsification. Police say records altered to extend service years. Daily Trust newspaper says federal government after certificate forgers. Interesting development there. Now the Hope newspaper, police arrest 12 in Kainji power plant over alleged 4.8 billion naira theft. Next is the Guardian newspaper. Row over rights to multiple dormant parties as INEC considers 14 more. Interesting development there, for all the newspapers are saying Nigeria's political participation update with the infographics put in, well displayed right in front of the Guardian newspaper. Now, the Daily Times, Ogoni Land, Tinubu direct Ribadu, NNPCL, stakeholders to explore return of oil production. Interesting development. Yeah, Tinubu summons for this Nigeria. Tinubu summons Ibas, ex-Rivers Sole Administrator, amid concerns by State Assembly over utilization of billions of naira budget in 6 months. The Punch newspaper, NNPCL secures 318 billion naira to fund new oil exploration. And then the Leadership newspaper talks about billionaire Samad Rabiu forecast 1,400 naira to the dollar exchange rate by year-end. Interesting development for the papers. And the Sporting Live, Iheanacho scores in Europa League debut. I will be doing this with my colleagues, Etoma, Ria, and Lamide. Yeah, guys, we have quite interesting developments, being reported on the front pages of the newspaper. If you look at the banner headline for the Nation newspaper, say Nigeria offers solution to debt crisis in developing economies, where you also made allusion to the fact that the Vice President at the United Nations General Assembly saying that there is need for urgent action to promote sovereign debt relief and access to trade and financing. We were concerned about the loans that were being borrowed by various countries, especially Nigeria, and the ability to pay back to the Bretton Woods of this world, who will make sure that you're not able to pay back.
Yeah, he also proposed a committee, a special body that is given the responsibility of looking at the financial profiles and the debts and all that of African countries, and there's any other country that's in debt, and that if there is such a committee, then issues concerning finances worldwide will be tackled holistically. It will be tackled one after the other. It was quite instrumental that he brought that up, looking at Nigeria's debt profile and our history, of paying back when we owe, and what debt relief has also done for Nigeria. So he's proposing that all that should be done, and it should be handled by a committee, a special body that is put together in the United Nations.
That's right.
And I totally agree. Like we said earlier on, you cannot owe and not pay back. Or when you're taking money, you need to think about how you can pay back. I really believe in the debt relief as well, because there are some poorer countries that it's very difficult for them to pay. Right. Sometimes we look at, let there just be a little bit of pardon so that they can use that money to take care of other things. There's infrastructure, there's schools and all of that. And then again, what I want to say is that when money is borrowed, it should be used wisely. That's what I think that's one of the best, solutions. When you borrow money, it should be used wisely. There should not be any corruption within it. And debt relief is something I really stand for. I'm happy that he really brought it up.
The criticisms for the IMF and then the World Bank is that they use a template for their own country on African countries, and without caring, without minding whether it's going to positively affect the economy or not. But most of the time, they always make sure that it destroys the economy under the guise of helping you.
Absolutely. Their foremost concern is not our well-being. You cannot give global solutions or global funding to local problems. You know, we're not at the forefront of their mind. But I will say this, borrowed money is not your money at the end of the day. And borrowed money requires more transparency and more accountability than other monies, because people are going to ask it. When you borrow money, it takes an effect on the economy and people's lives. And so people are watching to see what you do with that money. You know, some people say that the devil will ask for your cap, but the devil will give you a cap, but ask for your head in return. We must keep that in mind.
Absolutely.
Borrow does not make us shine.
Absolutely. Now let's move on to the platform times. And then if you also look at the Daily Trust, we are talking about the police dragging retired AIG, CPs, others to court over alleged age falsification. Police say records altered to extend service years. The same thing, the federal government is also sending a memo to the MDAs, ministries, department and agencies, that they are going to tackle certificate forgers.
Yes, you know, I was a civil servant for like 12 years or so, the early part of my my career, and it is very common to have people put in forged certificates because they want their entry points to be better than what they actually deserve. That's number one. Number two, they falsify their age, you know, so that they can stay in the service long enough, because retirement after civil service is not the most attractive thing that is possible. I'm happy about the development, but I'm saying this is something that should have been something that is ingrained in the processes of the civil service. Before you employ somebody, check those things very well, verify, make sure that these things are genuine. Yeah, the laxity of checking all these things has made a good percentage of civil servants to come in with fake and forged certificates, unfortunately.
And just to quickly add to that, I thought the football age would end at the pitch. I didn't know that it was going to get to civil servants.
It's actually everywhere.
Because we know with footballers, we see it a lot. You are looking 45, but you say you're 23. We see it a lot. But at the end of the day, if you lie about your age shows in one way or the other. I think that is a criminal offense and you need to check on it. I remember those times in Ghana, you see a lot of people, when you want to do your passport, they'll say, no, change the age. I'm like, you should be happy to grow. What is the reason? Now you're doing that for selfish reasons as well. And I think that is something that they should really need to look into. But
in all fair hearing, these people are saying that those affected, they're saying that that it was clerical errors, that they didn't do it, and these people they've actually
where were the errors coming from? Where were the errors coming from?
This
That's
is
the
probing,
question.
this is probing people that have retired. Is that not speaking to, yes, accountability and serving as a deterrent to anyone who wants to do it?
I think that when we look at data collection, especially in the civil service industry, it was not designed to be transparent, because people want to constantly take advantage of these loopholes in the system. But just to play devil's advocate here, I will say that I'm not justifying, forging any data or anything of that sort. I strongly condemn it. But I will say a lot of these civil servants, they feel that oftentimes the systems discard them. You know, at a certain age, the system stops caring about you because you're not on the pulse, you don't have any access to contracts or money or cultural capital. And so they often feel there is a pressing need to do this. Perhaps if we looked after their welfare properly, this rising need to forge certificates would not be as rampant.
I agree with you, Olamide, but also I stand for, no matter what the situation is, there are some things that are just corruption that should not be done.
Absolutely.
I understand that sometimes, it's difficult for them, but you need to be a true and just person.
Corruption is corruption.
Corruption is corruption. Small lie, big lie, everything is still.
I completely
your
agree.
age is your age. No matter how you try to falsify it, it is still your age.
Absolutely.
It gets to a point where the thing comes and bites you.
And you look your age, you even look your age.
I think about all the opportunities for younger people coming into this industry that have been taken away by this forgery. It's a shame.
Yes.
Right. So and then we also need to strengthen our systems. To
I'm 16 years old.
Accountability. Now, the Hope newspaper saying that police arrest 12 at Kainji power plant over alleged 4.8 billion naira. So we'll take the rest of the papers one after the other, so you can just get yourself prepared ahead. So talking about people who are destroying, vandalizing the power plant. It is very, very sad. And then we sit here, everyone sits anywhere to complain about inadequate power supply. But we have people who are destroying the infrastructure.
And when you put the cost of this vandalism over the years, when you put it together in Naira and Kobo as it is done there, you realize how damaging it is to our economy. It is very rampant right now as we speak. They are not only vandalizing power plants, they are vandalizing poles, they are vandalizing everything, transformers and so on. Security is one thing that I think the power structure should invest seriously on. And if all this, it shouldn't be this kind of security where everybody knows that there's security going on here. Hey, look, very good security is the one that you don't see. Let them just do something about it and reduce the rate of vandalism. Eradicate it maybe after some years, but for right now, let those vandals know that the government is serious about this, and there's some serious work going on.
If you look at the Guardian newspaper, political parties or SPVs, that's special purpose vehicles. So RAW overrides multiple dormant parties as INEC considers 14 more. Nigeria's political participation update. So we are kind of being thorn. You know, I think it was 18 of new parties that have been registered by INEC. Now they are still considering 14 more. It's their right. But do we need all of these parties?
I was just about to say that it is their right, it's democracy. At the end of the day, it's one winner. There's never been two winners. So let them come. We're not stifling anybody. We're not telling you that, okay, if you want to form a party, it's your right to form a party. But then again, can the party stand the test of time? A lot of times we've had conversations on this table. We've seen the crisis in PDP, the crisis in ADC. It's not about forming a party. What are your ideologies? I feel like people are just quick to say that, oh, I'm doing this party, I'm putting it out. But is it going to stand the test of time, Ibrahim? Those are some of the things that we need to look at. But let them come. And I'm happy that INEC is not telling anybody that, oh, you cannot come. You are welcome. 2027 is almost here. Let the best man
Absolutely. Win. If you look at the Daily Times, it's saying Ogoniland, Tinubu directs Ribadu and NPCL stakeholders to explore return of oil production. Yeah, it's good feat. People are actually responding to these, positively, following the killing of Kensa Ruwiwa, etc., and then the fact that they want to restart oil. But the conditions there need to be, uplifted by the president and the administration. But Olamide, if you go to this Nigeria, Tinubu summons Ibas, ex-Rivers Sole administrator, amid concerns by State Assembly over the utilization of billions of naira budget in 6 months. Finance Minister Edun, EFCC Chairman Olukoyede also in attendance. I've given you the job. Go and do the job. Yeah, come. How did you spend the money?
There have been, talks of this financial probe. They want to audit the sole administrator. And if you ask me, and I might be wrong, but the president did put the sole administrator. It was his decision, right? Essentially, and so for him to now say I'm going to audit you, it means that he trusts his decision. It means that he wants to give us transparency. I know who I put there. I'm backing what he has done there, and I'm going to show you people that I'm going to hold him accountable for the power that I gave him. But in terms of the Ogonifor, I just want to touch on that quickly because we're still on Rivers State. I love that the president is honoring them. The Ogonifor was a very, very sad death and a killing that happened. And so we're saying that Rivers State, unfortunately, still now is dealing with a lot of internal crisis. And I think the president is, by honoring these people and giving them the CON, he's putting a salve on what has happened. But it's a shame to see that decades later, Rivers State is still haunted by this power crisis.
And Ibrahim, I'll just say something quickly. I know it's not my slot, but let me just say something quickly. If you don't have a skeleton in your cupboard, you shouldn't be afraid. And I'm happy that Ibas is fearless because he knows that he didn't do anything. Okay, let's wait for
you that he's fearless.
That's what I said.
You're going to explain to us how he spent 254 billion, and I feel like hearing it.
I'm happy that the president is doing this because oftentimes we've said accountability. Now he's giving us the accountability, and I'm sure he trusts his decision because he puts him there. So of course he wouldn't put somebody that he doesn't trust.
Absolutely.
So let the probe begin and let's see what happens.
Fingers crossed. Leadership newspaper says billionaire Samad Rabiu forecast 1,400 naira to the dollar exchange rate by year end. I remember my wife asking me, have you changed the dollar with you? Because Mr. Dollar is going down.
Yes, the chairman of BOA is being very optimistic. He is praising the economic decisions that this present administration has taken so far and the resultant effect that it is having, which is positive. And he's saying that because of all these things that the present administration has done, the Naira will strengthen. And we all know that if the Naira strengthens, prices of a whole lot of commodities will come down. Those figures, inflation rates and the rest, will be having beautiful figures. He is quite optimistic that the thing will not only come down. It can come down as much as 1,300.
Yeah.
I pray for that to happen,
You know,
because
I
Nigerians
look forward
actually
to a
need
day
it.
when we are not a slave to the dollar.
Yeah.
This volatility, when you
Yeah.
just think about how we're not able to save in dollar or protect our foreign currency or financially plan because we're slaves to the dollar, it's a shame.
Yeah,
You know,
the one that's more painful is when the value keeps fluctuating.
That's where I want to
You
go
know,
to.
when it keeps
See,
fluctuating.
But now
Etoma,
there's
I
a
almost had high BP because normally I love to save in dollars. I actually like, it's my thing. And at the end of the day, there was one time that guy, when I now change, I don't want to think about it. My heart.
So the thing is, it's so shameful that each time there is a problem, you know, in the global market, especially when the dollar, you know, has a problem, then you see the Naira, when the dollar sneezes, you see the Naira going into ICU.
Yes.
You know, that's so strange. Let's move on to the Punch newspaper. NNPCL secures 380 billion Naira to fund new oil exploration. You know, there's the FARC subcommittee probe spending for frontier exploration. Budget office warns Nigeria losing 60% of oil income. National oil firm pays zero dividend to federal accounts despite 1.026 trillion Naira profit. Experts push private exploration. So we're talking about oil exploration, securing new deal, but at the end of the day, the community, they bear the brunt.
Yes, and I wonder why the community should bear the brunt. It depends on the laws of our country. We really need to look at that. And I want to commend NNPC for setting aside such a chunk for exploration, because now we are discovering oil in places that we cannot call traditional oil areas.
That's right.
So the more we discover, the better for the Nigerian economy that is heavily dependent on oil.
Absolutely.
And what I want to say is that all these monies, accountability, please. We do not want at the end of the day you hear trillions, billions, and at the end of the day we do not, it just goes down the drain. We saw what happened with our refineries. So when I see stories like this, okay, all these monies are going out, but accountability, we need to see where they really go.
And you know, we talk about renewable energy, the world is going with renewable energy. One of the things that I agreed with Trump when he was, you know,
one of the things
that I agreed on, you know, was that look at Germany. He said, look at Germany. They are shouting about renewable energy. By the time they start losing money and they start going bankrupt, they went back to oil exploration. so we need to still, you know, utilize. There's still very much, you know, opportunities when it comes to oil. I mean, you know, selling the global oil. I mean, playing in the global market. Let's move on to the Sport and Life, which is last but not least. I think we do not have enough time, but let me just quickly do a quick run over here. Nacho scores in Europa League debut. You talk about Zebzeda 1 and Celtic 1. Guehi rather likely to leave in January, and Chelsea eye $30 million wonderkid Ian Sobiabre. Then the last one here, Galatasaray versus Liverpool. Osimhen keen to face Reds. That's Engine. So we'll see.
Is he back on the field now?
Yeah, he should be back for the next. He should be back for the next, playoff with the other club, which is Liverpool. But we need to race on because the director is not taking it easy with me at all. Coming up on